All right guys, we haven't done this in a while, but today we got a performance review and it's on these bad boys right here. This is the Jordan Tatum 3, and in my opinion, this is Tatum's best signature sneaker so far. What's going on guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got the performance review on these bad boys right here. This is the Jordan Tatum 3, the best in the line so far, which isn't saying much because the other two were kind of crappy, but it is the best nonetheless. So first things first, we're actually gonna go over the fit, which I know is not typical WearTesters order, but that's what we're gonna do today. And I would go true to size. I do not love the last that they use. They keep using a very similar last to the Sabrinas, the Sabrina 2s, the LeBron series currently, starting with the 20s and onward. But I would go true to size. I think that that's gonna work for most people. Width-wise, they were a little bit tight right on the sides right here. There's a rubber cup sole, which we'll talk about later. But lengthwise, I think that they work really well. My toe is right here at the edge, which is right where I like it. And so true to size is where I would go. I did play in them indoors already, which is why we're outside right now, because I have not tested them outdoors. So that's what we're doing currently. That is typical WearTesters testing fashion. We always do everything indoors first. We bring it outdoors and see how it does there, which is this style of court right here. So it's kind of got a little bit of a gritty surface to it. It does really well when it attaches to the rubber soles. The only part that I ever have issues with is when I ever hit a line. But yeah, so far, so good. I'm not really worried about anything. As far as traction is concerned, I think that they feel pretty nice. So yeah, no complaints either in or out. I will say that if you're looking for longevity, then maybe this is not the best option, but indoors, most of you guys should be fine. This modified herringbone pattern right here works really well indoors, even with dust. And even if dust is a big problem, just do a quick wipe and you're good. Outdoors though, it works really well. No real complaints. And yeah, everything seems to be pretty good to go so far. The cushion setup is really interesting because it is a rubber cup sole, much like the Air Jordan 39. But I think that this one does the cup sole system a little bit better. So I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see the green foam, but all of the green foam poking through the cup sole is actually Cushlon 3.0, super comfortable. And like I said, it pokes out everywhere. That's also one of the things that I think is the downside to the shoe, but I'll get into that in a little bit. And then in addition to the cup sole, as well as the Cushlon 3.0, you do have a bottom-loaded Zoom Air unit. And it is located right in the forefoot area. Good surface coverage. It's got kind of a springy feel, but not too much. And I will say that they felt great indoors, but outdoors here, they don't feel quite as good as they did indoors, but they still feel good nonetheless. Definitely an upgrade, like I was saying, from the last couple. So I like that. Now, before we go any further, we do have a quick word from today's sponsor. So for that, we're going back to Studio Chris. And that's the good folks over at Scheels. And just in case you're unaware of what Scheels is, they're a retailer both in-store and online. They have a wide variety of sneaker brand accounts. They are official account holders for brands such as Jordan Brand, Nike, and so on and so forth. They carry all kinds of different footwear and sporting equipment. And on top of all of that, they do have a sneaker release calendar. So if you ever wanted to see what was coming from Scheels, you can always go to their website, links down below in the description box. It'll head you over to their site where you can check it all out. The materials are nothing fancy. We've got ripstop here. We've got some embroidery or like stitching around that. We've got this like almost a TPU-like material, but it's not. It's much more flexible, along with some strategic ventilation zones. While this is not my preferred setup, I really love the setup that was used for the Air Jordan 39, a mix of modern and premium. But this setup right here works really well, so I can't really complain about it performance-wise. It's good. The shoe flexes well. It moves well with the foot. The break-in time for the upper itself is damn near non-existent. However, you are going to have to break in this little foot frame. This is something they carried over from the 2. It's one of the things that I really disliked about the 2, but mostly because it was on the outside of the foot and it really restricted flexibility and motion. This side, it actually cups your arch area, which is great. So once this breaks in, it feels good. And then the rest of this midsole that you can see is actually the cup sole. And again, that does take a little bit of time to break in. Not too much, but it is a little noticeable, especially at first. Now, the support is the one aspect that I kind of have a love-hate relationship with. Love is kind of a strong word though, so I like it. I don't love it. I don't hate it, but I also don't like really, really love it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just kind of like in the middle, I would say. For its price point, I suppose it's adequate. There's no midfoot shank or anything like that. Does it need one? I would say with the cup sole system, probably not. Meanwhile, the upper really does contain you as well as it can for the type of material that it is. So when you are pushing hard, kind of like laterally like this, I think that it does a good job stopping you. And then the internal heel counter that they've got going on works well too. The one issue that I actually had is actually the width right here, and the width is decent. So if you look at the shoe from the top down, you know, you're sitting inside that cup sole just slightly, which is perfect. And then it cups you all the way up around, again, perfect. But this decision right here almost caused me to sprain my ankle pretty good, which was kind of a bummer. So while I can't recreate everything perfectly, I got a couple of cones out there that do represent defenders. So where you see the two cones, that is where my defenders were. My main defender is closest to me. And basically I decided to dribble this way and then split the gap. But because I tippy-toed it through the gap, as soon as I had planted this way, my foot kind of hit or caught this soft area, which compressed a lot because it's that softer foam. And I can't tell if the bottom lip that is actual rubber caught the floor, or if it was the foam that caught the floor, or if it was the compression that caused the tipping. But either way, I moved through and then I hit this way and I did that, and it just tweaked my ankle, no contact. That was the one thing that I just think really was a detriment. It's on this side right here where there's typically a lateral outrigger. And as you can see, there isn't one. Instead, it goes and sucks itself in. I had the same issue on the EQLZ 247 where it flared out wide here and then it sucked in right there. And anytime I did a 4-foot move that was heavy on the toe, it just kind of like rolled me over, and I just didn't like it. Now it's because of that one aspect that would keep me from taking these as like a go-to shoe or a backup shoe or even as my normal everyday shoe, which again, I think is unfortunate just because this is so far way better than the past two models. So as long as you're not a 4-foot heavy type of player, at least on the exterior portion of your 4-foot, that lateral side, I think that most people will be fine. However, naturally, when you're moving in through traffic or going into the lane and stuff, sometimes you end up on your toes. You're supposed to be, you're being quick and nimble, shifty, changing directions. And again, you could catch that section. So that's just one thing to look out for. Overall though, I do think that this is a really good shoe, all things considered. Just that one tiny aspect not so good, which is again kind of unfortunate because I do like everything else quite a bit. Oh, it could have been so sweet, but yes, I miss. But again, if you're looking for a shoe with good cushion, good traction, then the Tatum 3 just might be your guy. That's off. Just kidding. Sure as felt off. That's good too. But with all that being said, we are going to go back into the studio for today's question of the day.
Which NBA player currently signed with a shoe company would you like to see signed on another shoe company? For example, Ant-Man to Under Armour.
I don't know. I think that there are too many signature shoes as it is. So I would cut those, like a lot of them, and I would make the signature shoe special again. I don't really care about where people are at. You know what I mean? I think the competition is good, so having them dispersed the way that they are is great. It's just that should everybody with a signature shoe have one?
Do you feel like there should be a cap as to how many?
There used to be with like Nike specifically, like they used to be like, no, we're having a big 3 and we've got people signed to the brand.
I just mean like LeBron. We're going to be on the 22nd.
You mean a cap to a signature line?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No. That's a milestone. That'd be like saying you can't be an all-star X amount of years in a row. It's like, what are you talking about? You're a superstar. You should be an all-star every year if you deserve it. You know what I mean? Like that's what I feel like about signature shoes, is that if you're a signature type of athlete, hell yeah, you should have a signature shoe. Trae Young, for example, I'm not trying to throw him under the bus. I'm not saying he's not a signature athlete. I'm just saying that he didn't demand signature sales. And so Adidas cut the line. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not going to be like a continuation of that stuff. Paul George over at Nike, he got his line cut. Russell Westbrook, his line cut. Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, their lines cut. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's next? Like, yeah, there's too much. There's too much of this stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if LeBron gets to keep having a shoe drop every year, how do you like...
It's not LeBron gets to keep having. LeBron, look, this is how you got to word it. LeBron doesn't get to keep having. LeBron earns that signature he's LeBron James.
But like, how do you even bring a new person to the table then?
You got to vet them. The signature shoe thing is so interesting because it's so intricate. You know, like there's all kinds of different, I don't know how to, it's like a video game. Like if you play my player mode on 2K, it's just like that. Like that's how the league is run. It's run off of milestones, your achievements, your accomplishments. The only way to get those things is to play minutes and to really play those minutes well. Like you've got one opportunity. You really seize that moment. The clock's run out. This is why I'm here. Snap back to reality. Like you have to make all-star games. You have to average a certain amount of points and all of these things to get a signature deal. Like when I see John Morant play, signature athlete. When I see Ant-Man play, signature athlete. I don't think that I would move anybody over. What I'd like to see is like certain brands become legacy brands. I'd like to see the Kobe brand actually become a Kobe brand and then sign guys. I would like to see more of that than anything else. Because I just don't think that everybody in the league needs a fucking shoe.
Kick it back outside.
Do we have to? That fool stole my shoes. He didn't even ask.